I haven't opened this in like almost 2 years ago, and I have not opened this. So let's see if this is the right one. Oh, oh no. Oh my god, no. Oh no, oh no. Alright, so today, as you've seen by the title, we're actually going to be going over, well, slash reacting to one of my older animations, and specifically my most popular one. And for those of you that might be newer to the channel, you might not have seen this one. So I'm actually gonna scroll all the way down. Yeah, past a year, right here. This one right here. I made this animation a year ago, and it was around the time when the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Teal Mask DLC came out. I made it like 2 weeks, like it came out like 2 weeks after it came out. So was it a week or 2 weeks? I don't remember, but yeah, I made it then, and this was like one of my first animations. So I think this should be pretty fun to just go back and look at it and see what I did right and a lot of the things that I did wrong in that one. So I think we're good to start. As you've just heard, this animation had a lot wrong with it. More specifically, numerous problems I didn't address when I first made it. From bad environment design, disgusting animation, and many other issues that will be exposed throughout this video. With that said, let's take a look into what really went wrong with my most popular Pokemon animation. Alright, that was the rest of it. Oh my gosh, so this was so bad. Okay, so that's the intro, right? Like, this was like the only part I was actually like proud about, because like that transition was nice, because it zoomed into it holding the picture, but that's where like the self-glaze stops. So yeah, the fact that the intro, which technically isn't even part of the actual animation, mind you, gets the most praise from myself isn't typically a good sign. But let's keep going. I'm gonna walk y'all through exactly like each part. First of all, this whole environment is atrocious. Like, this is disgusting. I'm gonna show y'all a bit more later, like in the actual file, but this looks like disgusting. This is supposed to be grass, which, yeah, this mountain is just a default like preset that just does not look good. It just looks like it's like a fake toy set. Those little like whooshes I actually edited that in like DaVinci Resolve to just like make the camera movement feel a bit more dynamic, which I actually did like looking back on it. Okay, this part I have a problem now looking back at it, because number one, this one's like way pushed back farther than the other three masks. I should have just like pushed like more of the mountain, like I grabbed and just pushed it forward, so that way like the stone mask will be in line with the other three. And it also looked like they were kind of floating. Yeah, that's another thing I didn't like after looking back on this. Okay, this part in specific, I actually like the running on this was like really janky, and I'll show you guys what it actually looks like without editing it. But this was just, it sped up, and I had like a zoom blur on here to just basically hide like the bad animation on the legs. And you'll see more like bad leg animation throughout the rest of this, and I'll show y'all. It was something, I'll tell you. I actually like this part. Like, I made a good use of the camera perspective here to like have it like just grab the mask downwards. Like, that was like one of the few things I had to do with like just do camera tricks in order to make some parts work. The caves inside looks just as bad as the outside, which made animating the running look really like weird, because like I had to like have it like be on the ground, except it was just very like wonky terrain. It was very janky. This part right here, the grass seeping into like the mountain, yeah, that was like, it just didn't work out there. Oh my gosh, this is worse. Oh my gosh, this is disgusting. So I think I need to slow it down because it was a bit fast. I need to show exactly like what I'm talking about here. See, like this little hop back, it just wasn't, I just didn't do enough distance to where it was very like noticeable, and it went by incredibly fast. See that cut, that was just a very quick cut that just wasn't necessary. I need to like flush that part out a bit more, just have it more like exaggerated of it jumping out of the mountain. It just feels like it's sliding down the mountain. I don't know. Like, the leg movement just, like, didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right when going down the mountain. It just felt, like, very stiff and stationary. This part was actually, like, unintentional. And I'll explain this more later. But basically, this wasn't intentional for the camera to, like, go from, like a shot that just, like, looks up and then goes like this. But I made this cut here that actually made this, like, work. Because it actually looked, this specific part, like, this looked good right here. But the rest of it was pretty suspect. This part, you can obviously tell. Way too fast. Like, there was just no like fluid movement of grabbing the mace here. And then the animation for throwing it up was just very just stiff, robotic. It just didn't feel like it threw it up there. It just felt like it just floated up there on its own. Like this the animation of it hitting the head here wasn't actually that good. So that's why you see like a very like exaggerated camera shake and like motion blur. And this motion blur happened before it even hit the mace even hit the mask, because it's not even in view yet. And it just like fell down. It just like appeared right here. It just wasn't good. I actually liked this part. This part was intentional. I think if I wanted to make this part look a little better, I should have made it like faster, like had the feet like move up and down faster. I think that would have made it a lot better. This feet animation was atrocious. Like, what? No, I cannot believe I even like looked over that. That's how you know I was still green at making animations, because that was crazy. The rest of it was alright, but there was a lot more to be desired for it, which is why I'm going to show you all the Blender scene so I can properly explain exactly how some of this was made and why it doesn't make sense. So I haven't opened this in like almost 2 years ago, and I have not opened this, so let's see if this is the right one. Oh, oh no. Oh my god, no. Oh no, oh no. This is crazy. There's so many things wrong. No. Nah, this is wild. Nah, this is actually crazy. Okay. First of all, I rendered this in cycles, and my computer cannot handle cycles, so that was already a problem. So let me show y'all what is wrong. Nah. No. No way. Look at this. No. No, this is crazy. Okay, I need to explain everything from the start, because this is nasty. Okay, first of all, the rendering got messed up for this. Is what the grass was supposed to look like, but the rendering showed that like it just didn't work out. So first of all, let's talk about the fact that the obvious thing in the room is the fact that I have like 8,000 cameras. Like, the thing is that when I used all these cameras, I had to put all these markers right here. All these markers, you see all these lines on the timeline? Yeah, I had to make these markers so that it would cut to each camera. But the problem with that is it's just very unorganized and very messy. And you had to put a marker for every single time you wanted to switch to a different camera. And so the smarter thing to do, which I do now, obviously I don't do this anymore, you just use one camera in the scene and just keyframe where you want the camera to be. I was not very smart back then, so I used 8,000 cameras. So the mountain, it just does not look good at all. The grass was even more abysmal, because it was supposed to look like this, but it ended up rendering like this, and it's just like, I don't know what I was thinking back then. I've always struggled with grass though, so this isn't anything new. Alright, for the rest of this video, it's going to be a voiceover of me explaining the rest of the animation, because the audio from my mic kept doing this popping thing and sounded like this. It would go through the wall. So yeah, for the sake of you guys' ears, I will be explaining it through voiceover in post. After showcasing the put this in a fire of an environment, I started to talk about the mask placement and how the inside of the mountain needed to be adjusted so that the stone mask would line up with the other 3 masks on display. The mountain could have been pulled forward through sculpting, but I was even less knowledgeable about sculpting than I was animation, and you can see where my knowledge of animation was at the time. Next was the raw footage of Ogerpon sprinting towards the masks, and yeah, the unedited version of this makes it look even worse than it was, as the terrain of the mountain floor forced me to animate the movement in a way that wouldn't make sense, which by the way doesn't excuse how the animation came out. It's just another factor that worked against me during the process. This is what I get for using presets instead of actually knowing how to create the mountain itself. This is what Ogerpon grabbing the mask off the wall looks like from the outside of the camera, which doesn't actually look that bad since it came out well in the final version. Unfortunately, this is one of the only things I did right in this animation. I already went over why I didn't like the part of Ogerpon sliding down the mountain, but I will explain this part with the camera facing upwards, as it was an unintended result of the constraint on the camera following where Ogerpon was when it flipped into the air, which actually looked so good to me at the time that I decided to leave it like that. However, the last part that I really wanted to talk about the most was this leg movement right here. I mentioned this earlier in the video, but this was by far one of the worst parts of this entire animation. The problem here is that this walking animation to pick up the mace was not believable at all, and it just didn't make sense. To this day, I don't know how I let that slide when I uploaded this animation. The worst part is that I actually made an animation with Ogerpon running, so it's not like it was impossible to do, I just didn't do it correctly here. Even though I've been criticizing my own animation that I made in what feels like a long time ago, it was still something that I could learn from. Well, rather what not to do for an animation. Beyond the bad animation, appalling background, and non-existing organization, I still liked the animation for what it was. Just something that was funny to watch for the first time and not look back on, like, at all. So yeah, there you have it. My most popular animation was something that was riddled with mistakes, but weirdly enough, I actually had fun making it at the time. No, I wish I was lying about that. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, please subscribe so you know when I post any new video. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.